Good evening to everybody. It is that time. It is your favorite show. We used to call it the Public Access Show, but it's not the Public Access Show anymore. It's just your favorite show. It is Around Midnight Somewhere. I am Joe Carbonetta, and I am being joined this evening by the Peanut Gallery. So I've got Chevelle Devine and Todd Fluker. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
I don't know, man. That's a bold... That went from a semi-bold statement to a very bold statement very quickly.
Which one was that?
Your favorite show?
Oh,
I mean, yeah. I think we were better off with favorite public access show.
You know,
that might have a little bit of pull there.
If you, yeah, that's true.
I don't know how much pull we even have there.
We might need to qualify that. I can think of a couple of shows I'd
rather be watching.
That is totally true. That is totally true. We might need to qualify that. But, yeah, we used to be your favorite public access show on your favorite public access channel, and we are still on that public access channel. If you're watching in Pasadena, you can check us out on Pasadena Media's Arroyo channel. Big ups and thanks to them for carrying us to this day. And a reminder
You're probably the last person on the planet that still says big ups.
Sorry, I'm old. What can I say? What do you want me to say? What would you call it?
Just an observation.
All right, well, listen. We are live if you are watching tonight on Thursday, July the 16th, 2020, okay? So I just want you to know we're only live if you're watching that time. Thursday, July 16th, 2020, we are live and you can join us. And if you want to join us, you do that by giving us a call right here at area code 951-356-6882. That's the number, 951-356-6882. You can join the conversation. We will put you on the air. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You dial this number, you're going to be live. All right? Just so you know.
That sounds almost like a threat. It's like, you call, we're going to put you on.
Yeah. That's about
going to happen.
That's Chevelle Devine right there. And come on, Todd, why don't you give us something important to say there?
I was just thinking, hey, say that we're live every Thursday night, right?
That's right.
So,
hey, Todd, tell them
how you happen to be watching this, I don't know, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, catch us on Thursday night, 8 o'clock Pacific. We're totally live.
And by the way, you can reach out to us anytime at Mixifyd@gmail.com. That's Mixifyd@gmail.com. You can actually also check us out at Mixifyd.com. So, yeah, that works on multiple levels there. How about that? All right, guys. So, how was your week so far? Is everybody enjoying the COVID?
It's nonstop fun.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Nonstop fun. I haven't been doing a whole lot. I've been watching the numbers exploding, and I mean literally exploding. They were just talking.
What are you guys up to?
What? What are you
guys up to?
We're not up to anything. That's it. That's the point.
Oh, the numbers. What are your numbers
okay.
up to?
Well, okay.
COVID.
Yeah, so here we go. Oh, I see where you're like, how high is it? Is that what we were trying to do there? All right. Yeah, there we go. Anyway.
You want some exact numbers? I got some exact numbers. California, COVID-19 by the numbers, July 16, 2020.
Uh-oh, here we go.
We have 356,178 total cases. Ouch. Ugh. That is 7,345 fatalities. This is just getting worse and worse.
Todd is our harbinger of bad news.
Yeah, breaking news. This sucks. Seriously. But I've been seeing videos of people talking about the COVID, and they're inability or unwillingness to wear masks or, I don't know, do anything to protect themselves from this virus.
Yeah,
and
we're totally going to get into
coming
that.
up a lot that they're like, I'm going to go to heaven. Y'all can't make me wear a mask. I'm like, who said anything about going to heaven or anything contrary
did you
to
see
that?
Did you see that there was a story in the news? I believe it broke just yesterday that there are two guys in Orange County that actually they did this intentionally, knowing it was going to be inflammatory. They got a whole bunch of donated masks, free masks you can put on your face. These two surfer guys, I mean, they're literally walking around going, hey, dude, you want a mask, dude? Come on, dude, get yourself a mask. You're free, dude. And people are like literally going up to them and threatening to start a fight. There was this one old guy, I mean, I hate to say this. I'm going to say it. He's a fat guy. And he's sitting there going, hey, if you want a piece of me, just come on up. And I'm thinking, oh, man, I'd almost pay to see that because these two surfer dudes are just going to pound you into the ground.
I don't know.
You seem a little too happy about all that violence.
I don't understand this. How is that an infringement on your rights? People don't seem to understand. I keep hearing everybody saying, oh, we're talking about, it's my right and you're infringing upon my rights. Well, here's this funny thing about freedom in the Constitution. No. Your freedom ends at the point that it infringes on somebody else's freedom. So if you are doing something that endangers someone else, you are no longer within your rights. I hate to tell you this, but that's what the Constitution says. You're only free until your freedom overrides somebody else's. Why are you just smiling like that, CJ? Why are you smiling like that? I'm just curious. Go ahead.
No, I mean,
but seriously, it's a real problem that this has become a political issue more than anything else. People are like,
I get so
I'm a Republican, so yeah, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a muzzle.
So it's all about partisanship now. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that has been the reason why from the very beginning I've not been on board with any of this stuff, because everybody wants to turn it into a political thing. Everybody wants to turn it into conservative versus liberals, religious freedom versus protecting whatever your rights and all this other stuff is. And just take care of each other. It's not that hard. Well, apparently it is that hard. The problem that I have, and this is a problem I've had,
you have a lot of problems, CJ.
A long time.
You have a lot of problems.
And it always comes down to people. If you do not take individual responsibility, then one of two things happens. It's all going to collapse, which is happening, or the opposite. They're going to take all the responsibility and authority from you to govern yourself, which is also happening. So we're seeing it at both sides. On one extreme, people want to exert their freedoms. They take over part of Seattle and start their little whatever the Antifa stand, whatever that name of it is now, I don't know what to call it. And then on the other hand, people are complaining because either the president is not doing enough or the president's doing too much. Governors are not doing enough or the governors are doing too much. It's like, do you? But do you responsibly? Where did your brain go, Joe?
My brain didn't go anywhere. I'm not exactly sure what. Yeah, okay. All right, Here's what I got to say to that. If you're wondering about Chevelle right now, you can contact him at Chevelle Divine right there. You can tweet him anytime at Chevelle Divine.
Anytime, bring it. Let's go.
I just wanted to throw that out at you. By the way, in case you were wondering, yes, I can be reached at Joe Carbonetta. We all have Twitter handles, and of course, Todd. Let's get Todd up there too. Todd, there you go, Todd. You are at Todd Fluker. So we can all be reached anytime. In case you disagree with something. And I guess I should point out here also that you can send us hate mail at mixifyd@gmail.com.
Why are you inviting that? Well, it'd be nice to get some mail.
It'd be good to get some kind of mail. Any kind of mail would be good. So hate mail's fine. We're good with that too. Send that.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the root of my problem with most of this. Okay. Like, I don't have a problem with people wanting to be safe. If people want to be courteous and respectful, I don't have a problem even putting on a mask. If it's the law of the land, so be it. But I don't like it when laws become selective. I don't like them when they become unnecessarily punitive. And more than anything else, I don't like it when people are okay with giving up their freedom, because...
So, again, how is it that putting on a mask is giving up your freedom? Explain that to me.
given the current relationship between police and poor people, people of color, or more specifically, black people, when you see some of the disparities, and people are going to argue this on either direction, there is clearly sometimes when police will approach one person rather than another, and they approach them in a different way, either more aggressively or less aggressively. You can chalk it up to training, you can chalk it up to bias, whatever it is you want to do, but they approach people differently. It's human, is what it is. The problem that I have with it is when certain groups of people are isolated. Like, I'm not a fan of gang enhancement laws. I'm not a fan of hate crime laws. Crime is crime. Punish the crime, and you should punish it across the board. So you're going to have the death penalty. Then if OJ gets it, Clintons need to get it. That's all I'm saying. Everybody gets it. And I'm sure Trump's got some blood on his hands too. I can't think of anybody who's gotten that far in America who hasn't had their hands in something dirty, whether directly, indirectly. Just because you can say that you weren't there doesn't mean you weren't involved.
All right.
But
I want to
when you give this goes back to like the Patriot Act. Like, people gave all this up, and it was fine when it was Bush and Go America, and we're going to take out I don't know why we end up in Iraq, but we're going to go take out the Taliban and whatnot. But then when Obama becomes president, they get all pissed off because now all of a sudden he's doing all these executive orders and he's now the one in the reins. And then Trump comes in, and now, like, everybody in the media has lost their mind because Trump doesn't want to play their game. He's not going to do it the way they wanted to. He ran a brilliant campaign in 2016 and beat the perfect candidate, according to the Democrats. And they're doing the same stupid stuff today. I don't
think it had anything to do with the perfect campaign.
You're going to get it.
It was just about an absolute hatred of anything Clinton. That's really what it boiled down. His brilliant campaign was an underdog, an overdog, an overlord that couldn't win. That's what it boiled down to. But I want to but before we go into this any further, I just want to take this opportunity to point out we are live. If you're watching on Thursday, July 16th, and you can call us at 951-356-6882. The phone lines are open, and we'll put you on the air.
Man, that was a lot of references to dogs when you're talking about the Clinton lady. But anyway,
God, wait.
We got on the YouTube chat.
Okay. What about the
YouTube chat? Tracy's jumping in. She says, "CJ #1 fan in the house." What?
See, yeah, I don't know. I'm
because Chevelle's popping off already.
I don't know about Tracy.
I don't know.
When you're talking about disparity between how police react to people, man, I was just talking to my wife about this story, and she was telling me about, I believe it's in, Kentucky?
Okay.
Louisville. Yeah. There apparently was on May 24th, there was a, mostly white protest for Second Amendment rights at the Capitol building.
Okay.
And there were people there. They were literally burning an effigy of the mayor, and they were banging on the windows of the building, and they were just popping off. They had guns. They were just popping off, doing everything they wanted, everything they could to get attention for this cause. But then, a little bit later, on July 14th, there was a peaceful protest, by all accounts, where people were peacefully sitting on the lawn of that same building. And, it being it was a protest about Breonna Taylor, about arresting and charging the officers involved with that killing. And 87 of the protesters were arrested and charged with felonies, when 0 of the people were arrested at the previous protest. So it just screams disparity. Like, how is it that these people that are, they're not acting peacefully, they're disruptive, they're doing whatever they want, and these other people are just sitting on the lawn saying, hey, you guys should probably do something about this Breonna Taylor issue, and they just get their, practically get their skulls cracked and busted downtown.
It works both directions, actually. You have over-enforcement in poorer communities, or depending on the protest, depending on the demographic, you have over enforcement. And then on the opposite side of that, when calls are made from those communities, which you think the response should be good because they're over policed to begin with, they have slow response times.
They should be in the neighborhood already.
Yeah, it's like you were just around the corner beating up my homie. You could have been here and kept this dude from taking my sneakers. We'd be all good. But nah, they had to wait for dispatch to tell them. They're sitting there staring, watching people get beat down over some tennis shoes. Like, we should probably go do something.
Nikki's jumping in on the YouTube chat. She says the Surgeon General actually brought up the issue of over-policing in regards to mask enforcement. So I guess maybe she's saying, certain skin tones, certain people, certain types of people maybe are getting over-policed.
All right.
I think anybody who does not recognize that any minority, and this is not just an American thing, like I said, this is part of a human condition, but any minority is going to suffer from this stuff. People like to point to America, and believe me, America has a very unique situation when it comes to how the racism, for lack of a better term, I don't like to throw that one around too lightly, but how that plays out in America's history and how America doesn't really like to talk about it, how they kind of sweep it under the rug, how they sugarcoat it, and how they say that was all in the past. But every nation has that. And people who don't want to change the way things are very quick to point it out. But not every nation did it the way it was done here. Like, there were generally at least 2 different genocides happening on this continent in the first couple of hundred years of its formation. You're wiping out everybody who was already here and then wiping out half the people that you brought here. So it's just not discussed. I don't get it.
Well, we totally lost.
And that you can go back. What you're talking about, that the gun protest, Second Amendment rights. The reason why you can't open carry in the state of California is because the Black Panther Party showed up in Sacramento armed, asking for them to do something about police violence. So this is just further evidence that this is not a new issue. This stuff has been going on for a very long time. And anybody who wants to come to this conversation acting like, but that was so long ago, it's not that long ago, man. It's not that long ago. I don't have to go. I mean, like, I've experienced it. I haven't had, the full on beat down because as a general rule, I just don't go anywhere. But I've been in situations where it's been dicey. You guys were there in one of those situations.
Yeah.
I've got several friends. And the thing that I don't like is a lot of times, like, I don't like to throw around victim either, but there is definitely something to be said for people who are brought up in a specific type of environment. Like, if you go and you pull some kid out of let's say, I don't know, Lebanon right now, Syria, and they've got missiles flying overhead all day long, and you drop that kid off in the middle of some great place, they're going to respond differently to certain things. Certain noises are going to make them respond a different way. And it's kind of the same thing. I think one of the things that people are probably just beginning to become aware of is, like, Black people, we've been here a long time. And you think, like, we're cool with you, and we are, but that doesn't mean we're cool with everything that's going on. It's just, we got to live. So what's the use in me going and yelling and screaming at the lady at the checkout counter or yelling at the guy that's been following me for 45 minutes around Walmart? There's no benefit to me in doing that. So just because we don't make an issue of it doesn't mean it's not an issue. And then when we do make an issue of it, it's not okay for you to dismiss that. And it's, pick your minority group. All of them are saying the same thing, but I don't like the fact that they're also not very focused when they have these conversations. Like, you bring up police brutality and all of a sudden it's a conversation about women's rights or something like that. Those are 2 different issues. And when you put them together, you're negating both of those issues. You have to deal with each issue specifically. And any politician who's not willing to give you specific answers on a specific issue and wants to conflate it with all the other issues is basically lying to your face, which is why I say, screw them all. Take care of yourselves. Treat each other right. Anyway, I'm going to quit. Dang it, Joe. Why'd you get me started?
I'm just, you know what? You were doing a great job, and I applaud that, because I was sitting here trying to figure out how to salvage what happened here. I don't know exactly what went wrong, but it was kind of ugly. So I've been sitting here trying to fix stuff. So
with your face on the screen there?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, there's no
That's
fixing
that.
Your
favorite bowling shirt.
There is
today.
no fixing that. But anyway, so okay. Here's another one for you. Now that you've been on this soapbox for I don't know how long, I shouldn't say
minutes.
this. I shouldn't say this, but it was kind of amusing to me that they officially came out now. They apparently dragged their feet on this to the very end, but they officially announced yesterday that the Rose Parade has been canceled. You know, I wish I had one of those kind of sound effects, but we actually don't have one of those. So,
Come on, that should have been the.
oh, okay. Well, I suppose we could do that. There we go. There,
So
the Rose
after the
Parade
fact.
is done.
What are you doing?
You know, it's you get to it when you get to it around here.
You need you need like the Scooby-Doo one.
But how far in advance do they really need to slap some roses on the side of a float?
Supposedly,
they
the
start working
planning
on
on
those,
this
like,
takes an
way in
entire
advance
year.
for
That's
some
what
of them.
they're claiming, is that the planning for the Rose
Yeah.
Parade takes an entire year. I
It
can
starts
see
on
this.
January 2nd.
I could see this conversation going down where they're talking about the Rose Parade being canceled, and the people at the Rose Parade are going, "Oh man, all right, we still get the Hondas, right?"
The little scooters and the white vans.
Yeah, because I mean, what are they going to do if they don't have their free vans? I don't know what to say about that. I'm not sure that how to feel about the Rose Parade not being there. I'm curious your thoughts, guys.
I feel like what's that Kermit the Frog meme where he's like drinking that sweet tea or something, and he's like, doesn't sound like any of my business.
I've not seen this. I've not seen
at
this
the same
all.
time, though, we're from LA. Like, we've been. How many of these have we been to, man?
The Rose,
Or
the
how
Rose
many of
Parade?
these have we never been to? How many of these have we
Yeah, I know.
not even
Seriously,
bothered to
I
watch?
think I have actually stood on Colorado Boulevard a handful of times over my entire lifetime.
But I've probably been to the party the night before more than the parade itself.
That's
Just
true.
go down to Colorado Boulevard. There's all kinds of wacky people there throwing tortillas at each other and marshmallows and whatnot. And I know Joe would be all mad, but they're spraying silly string. He's like, "Don't spray that silly string on my car."
Get off my lawn!
I
mean, that stuff's pretty toxic, right?
In all fairness, this represents
That's what
a
I'm saying.
massive revenue stream to the city of Pasadena, and who knows about the surrounding counties. So, I mean, I recognize that it's going to hurt them in the pocketbook. Uh-oh, now somebody's mad. I started laughing about the Rose Parade. Now somebody's calling in. All right, let's see. Who we
It
got in
is
there?
a literally world famous event that brings a
and
lot
Good
of
evening.
people
All
to
right, guys, hang
Pasadena.
on. Good evening. Thanks for calling around midnight. You are on the air. Who are we talking to?
One at a time, guys. One at a time. I'm getting older. It's Lucine. How you guys doing?
Hey, Lou Jean. We're doing good, thank you. Are you enjoying the show so far tonight?
Yes, I am actually. You guys,
Why did you say it like that? You sounded like you had to think about it.
Like,
yeah.
Today? Yeah, it's pretty good today, I suppose.
Well, I was actually going to call you guys and ask you what you thought about this whole Rose Parade thing, because I can't say I'm surprised, but I also can't say I'm not disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm really not.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I mean, it is
somebody on
crazy.
my side on this one. I mean, I know that's wrong, but I mean, I guess a lot of people
What,
can say
they
that it's
say-
wrong.
Yeah, this hasn't happened since
World War II.
World War
World
II.
War II is the only other time it was ever canceled.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a pretty good track record. That's kind of getting tarnished. It's sad. I get that.
Yeah, definitely.
Come on, Legene. You know that meme with Kermit, though, right?
No.
The meme with Kermit the Frog, evidently. Something about it's not my business.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what he's
Yeah,
talking
see?
about.
Lucene knows.
Sipping tea, and he always basically is just very cool and everything.
Todd, do you actually have a stalk
I
of
love it.
celery sticking out of that drink?
How else
Are-
you gonna drink?
Are
a
you in a
flavor?
resort somewhere, Todd, that we don't know? Are you doing the show from a resort?
I mean,
Really?
you gotta make your house a resort these days. Otherwise,
Wow.
you go crazy.
Like he was sitting in a coffee shop.
Huh?
What?
Huh?
Ooh. That
Am
was
I right?
special. That was
Nice.
just
Nice.
smile and nod, Joe. Smile and nod.
Yeah,
Hey, get one of those Joker cards.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, we still got a caller. We still have a caller, guys. Let her finish her thought, please. Go ahead there. Go ahead there, Lugene.
Shit, no, I forgot.
Wait, oh, you can't say that. Come on, you know you can't say that on the air. My goodness.
No. I mean, as far as, the meme is all over the place.
That's what you get, Joe. That's what you get.
Apparently, you're not online much. So.
Look, you made Chevelle walk off camera. I don't know why.
I had to straighten things out with the producers. I'm sorry.
Oh.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
All right,
I'm
so
sitting at home with an ice cream with the air conditioning on. You know, we don't know what's going on in the outside world. There is no outside world anymore.
That's true.
There's only Zoom.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how it would have played out if they decided to go forward with it, because that would be at the peak of winter, right around the time when COVID initially broke. You're talking about, November, December into January is when it's expected to be at its highest. It'll probably peak later on because, anyway. But
people are probably going to be wearing scarves anyway. You can just, kind of tuck that right up over your face. You'll be fine.
The thing is, like, with the number of people that fly in, like, would the airlines be even open? Would they be able to come in to do the thing? I'm wondering, because they had to have looked at more than just, we don't want people to come here and get sick. It was an economic decision. Like, are they going to make money on this, or are they going to lose money on this?
You know what? We have to do our public service here, too. So we have to put up the COVID-19 slide here for more information. And actually, there's more than one website that you can go to now. We have the www.cdc.gov/coronavirus. But if you're in California, there's also covid19.ca.gov, where you can go and get more information on the coronavirus today. All right, guys.
It's almost like he does this professionally.
Yeah, we can still hear you, Lugene.
No, I was while you're at that though, how do I reach you on the PC? Because I've been trying to dial you guys up and I can't find you on YouTube.
We are on.
Oh, you're using a dial-up?
A what? No,
there's your problem.
I think I heard her trying to log on right now. Oh, there she goes. She's trying to log on again. No, Lugene, you're actually still you're on with us right now, Lugene. You don't have to, Lugene. No. It's too late.
Just let it wash over you. Just let it happen.
It's not me. It's not me. I'm not doing that.
Eugene, he's messing with you, right?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no, guys. Okay, all right. I'm not.
That's funny.
I'm just on the phone. Hit the Xanax with each cheese.
Joe wonders why no one calls.
It's because you won't let her talk, Todd.
Calling about the parade and why it's not such a tragedy. Number one.
Okay.
Segueing into, there are a million questions I have, and all of this social distancing and locking stuff down is getting really confusing. For instance, I understand most of the sports teams are going to go back to play in front of expensive paper cutouts.
Oh yes. You can pay like $150 so that you can get a cardboard cutout of yourself at Dodger Stadium for the first Dodger game.
Yeah. They're gonna be like Joe having a little thing over there with the sound effects. They'll be playing all the wrong sound effects after a home run. It'll be like boo. It's like, oh no, wait, let me get that in.
So you're going to close down, you're going to shut down the parade. And I can understand that. That's, 1 million plus people on the parade route or some crap like that. And, so you're not going to be able to be that close. But they're going to have professional teams playing for paper dolls.
Yeah, and Todd has actually bought one already, and it's going to be him sitting there with that glass with the celery stick.
Oh.
No way. It would totally be me with my arm over Mark Hamill. It would be me and Luke Skywalker watching the game.
And Yoda would, I think Yoda would just be sitting there trying to see if he could, cause something to happen with the game.
I mean, I think the insanity is reaching a level that it just goes beyond. And I'm very happy to stay at home. I know the craziness here. I got all the drugs I need. medication. Sorry. I've got all the, I've got everything I need here. It's just, I was stupid enough on my.
Do you have all the drugs I need?
Hey, call me.
I think we just committed a felony.
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys, I decided finally for my birthday, I put it off for years and years, I was going to get my hair done and my nails done. And I did. And I looked fabulous for 17 hours.
Wait. Hold the phone, Lugene. Did you say you were going to get your hair and your nose done or your hair and your nails done? Nails. Oh, okay. All right. Whew.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
And now they've closed the salons again. So I have no idea.
Yeah, this is something that's like interesting to me. Is like you've got these things like the multi-billion-dollar sporting agencies, and yes, they're businesses too, and they do have to look up their own bottom line. But in the meantime, like small business America is functionally dead right now. Like they are coasting on less than fumes right now. I would really appreciate it if maybe like 2008 there was a bailout. We bailed out the auto industry like 2 or 3 times. We bailed them out.
Yeah.
We bailed out banks.
Yeah, let's not forget about the banks.
And they feel like they mailed me a
bailouts
check for $1,500, and I'm supposed to be like, "Oh, I'm good. Can I get one of them $20 billion checks? That would be great."
Yeah,
let me get one of those Lee
I want to know
checks.
where that second stimulus check that they told us was coming, is. What happened to that, Trump? I'm just kind of curious. Now all of a sudden there's a run on change everywhere.
Like whenever they
there's
need
no
money,
second
they
stimulus
have it.
check. But yeah, well.
The story on that is not everyone's going to get one like they did last time, because now they're looking at, your income, which they did before. But there's a fight because everybody's deciding that this is not necessary for a second time around. And certain people may get some, but it more than likely isn't the average Joe.
Yeah, and when they say that only certain people are going to get them, they really mean only really rich people, kind of like the way the Paycheck Protection Act worked out.
I'm not 100% sure that that's correct.
It's not? Did you hear that the Catholic Church got $4.3 billion that they can trace?
Yeah, and that's kind of my point.
Meanwhile,
like,
there's a
large
whole bunch
organizations,
of mom and pop stores going out of business. Kanye West got tons of money. Because he was buddy-buddy with Trump. Now he hates Trump. He got the money. Now he hates Trump. But when they were buddy-buddy, he got a really good loan out of that somehow or other that will probably be forgiven and not have to be paid back. Meanwhile, there's average Joe's stand down there on the corner of, pick your street, and they're going out of business because they can't afford
average, Joe.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying. Anyway, Lugene, thank you so much for your call this evening, and we really appreciate it, and we hope you keep watching the show.
As soon as I find it. No. But if nothing else, you guys hang in there. Most of you were raised in Pasadena. I don't know how this thing is affecting you, if it is at all. I just want to know, this distancing thing, it's like who and what? You can't go to the salon and you can't really go to the stadium. You just have to send your picture and $300 so they'll make a doll of you. And this is just, I'm very happy to stay home, preferably under the bed with some Jack Daniels. Good.
All right,
guys, you take care. I'll talk at you again.
All right, have a great night. Thank you so much for your call. The Jack Daniels thing, I don't know. That's not such a bad deal. By the way, again, we are live if you are watching on Thursday, July 16th, 2020, and you too can voice your opinion. Oh boy, I didn't even get a chance to put the phone number up, and we got another call coming in. Thanks for calling around midnight somewhere. You are live. Who are we talking to?
Anastasia Beaverhausen.
Anastasia, how are you doing this evening?
What's up?
Wonderful.
Anastasia Bieber in the housing.
All right.
Long time no see, Chevelle.
What up?
So,
were you on vacay?
I have to work. I work nights.
Oh, okay. Just checking on you.
So, what did you call to talk about this evening, Anastasia?
The Rose Bowl and the drive-in theater.
Oh, and it's interesting, by the way. Let me interrupt you for just a second. As far as that Rose Bowl is concerned, so the Rose Parade itself has been canceled, but the Rose Bowl, the big game, is still on.
Oh, they're not going to cancel that.
All right, so go ahead.
They'll be out there in front of their cutouts.
Speak on this.
Money on it.
Speak on this, Anastasia. What do you want to say?
There's just too much money on that Rose Bowl game. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, are you busted up that the Rose Parade is not going to happen?
Yes, I'm sad.
You are. Oh, you're sad. Okay, so
I was born and raised in Altadena, and that's our tradition, our family tradition. Even though Tom and Jeffrey were too young, but it's sad.
Okay, all right.
Even when I stopped going, I watched it on TV every year.
Well, you know what? They did this with the sporting events early on. When everything came to a grinding halt, they started playing these older sporting games, that you could like watch in reruns. I'm sure they'll probably do something like that on the Rose Parade. Maybe they'll do a best of with a highlight reel of like all the greatest floats of the Rose Parade,
Yeah, that's what we need. The highlights of 2020. We need that.
No.
That's going to be like what, 30 seconds?
No, but I'm talking about across. I'm talking about across all the Rose Parades.
They got to get the slightly lesser known parade in Pasadena, the Doodah Parade. Get those guys to do it. They'll do it in a day and a half.
I don't think if we can't have a Rose Parade, how are we going to have a Doodah Parade? It's kind of like
Yeah,
the whole.
Honestly, you don't want to be around those people when it's clean. You certainly don't want to be around them when it's dirty.
Did he call them? Did he just call them those people?
Yeah.
Well, it's still going to be sad because you know how people go look at the floats when the parade is over?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well,
there's like
still go look
scout
at the
troops and
floats
all
after
kinds
the
of other
parade
groups
is
that
over.
gather
They'll just be there
decorate them and all kinds of stuff.
There'll just be empty parking spaces on Orange Grove Boulevard. That's all. But you could see the floats there after Rose Parade on the 1st of 2021.
Did you guys freeze up?
No, we're still here. Did you freeze up?
Why can't they social distance the parade? Like, just, have all the floats 6 feet apart. That sounds like a catastrophe waiting to happen.
Honestly, from a liability standpoint, there is no way they could do this parade. And I'm just surprised.
The parade takes a long time now.
Yeah. I'm just surprised it took them this long to finally make that determination. Like, they were really holding out like that Trump was right and that this was all a hoax.
That the summertime and the UV lights were totally going to take care of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah, that's it. No, I guess they thought we were all going to like drink bleach chasers and then everything was going to be fine. And, that's
they're going to figure out that UV light up the butthole thing, and then, everything would be fine.
And by the way, I want to point out right now, we are not condoning the idea of drinking bleach or sticking UV lights where the sun doesn't shine. None of that is a good idea, okay?
Yeah,
just so you know, we warned you, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Somebody's out there getting ready to do it.
Somebody already did it. And they're probably like, hey guys, is it?
What if I put bleach on the UV light?
Oh. So, Anastasia, are you having fun so far? Now, are you enjoying the show this evening? Anastasia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, all right. I was asking if you're enjoying the show this evening, but apparently she's falling asleep on us.
I love it.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
I think you got your answer.
I know. Yeah, it's like
Chevelle went off on a tangent, but other than that, it's good.
I do.
Yeah. He enjoys his moment in the sun. He really does. But that's okay. All right. Well,
he had to make up for last week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We get a double dose of CJ this week because he wasn't there last week. All right.
That sounds contagious.
It does, now that you mention it. Anyway, Anastasia, thank you so much for your call this evening, and we hope you'll continue watching the show and maybe call us back later.
I certainly will.
All right. Thanks again. You have a great night.
I'm trying to fix my situation here.
Oh, I'm not sure what to make of that.
Get that situation fixed.
That sounded nefarious.
Well, I can't get you guys on my laptop for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm trying. It's not working. It's giving me July. The last one is giving me July 2nd.
Huh. Interesting. Well, Todd, can you say the link? Maybe she could type it into her browser.
No.
All right. No. Yeah. All right.
Way too long.
Okay, I'll figure it out. I'll call you guys back.
All right. Have a great night.
Hey, love you. Bye.
All right, guys. You know what? It occurs to me that we probably should take a break here. So we will be back in just a moment.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college. So I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
America's veterans are more than a source of pride. They're a source of strength. When our veterans thrive, our communities thrive. With your support, our veterans can get career and education opportunities as well as benefits they've earned.
Hi, I'm Congressmember Judy Chu. Join me in thanking our nation's veterans. They've given so much. Find out how you can support veterans in our community.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey.
Okay. If you love me enough to tolerate my perfect little pets and all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
All right, we are back right here. We are live this evening. If you are watching on Thursday, July 16, 2020, this is around midnight somewhere. And you can call in, join us in our conversation. I, of course, am joined tonight by Chevelle Devine and Todd Fluker. Guys, welcome back again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, that was a delayed response if ever I heard one. Yeah, so again, I'm going to throw that up there that we are live tonight, Thursday, July 16, 2020. We're sort of making this up as we go along because, well, frankly, that's how we do it in the COVID era. And so you can join in on our conversation. You can give us a call anytime we are live. Call the number 951-356-6882, and we will put you on the air. So be aware of that. If you call in, we're going to stick you on the air. It's not a threat. It's just a warning. That's what it is.
It's a very clear and present danger.
Yeah. Be advised, if you call this number, you are giving us consent to stick you on the air. All right, guys. So we were still talking about the whole COVID situation, and I find this interesting also that...
I mean,
go ahead.
Before we jump into all that...
All right. What are you eating, Todd?
You know, on a personal note...
What are you eating?
I just want to see if you guys have ever done one of those, like, weight loss challenge things.
No. Is that a frozen dinner that you're eating?
No, it's my kids' leftovers from dinner.
Oh.
But, you know, I'm trying to bulk up.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No. Haven't done any weight loss challenges.
Weight loss challenges with my friends. We're all going to do some kind of Biggest Loser thing.
Uh-huh.
So I got to bulk up before Saturday when we do our weigh-in.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, yeah, well, good luck with that. Anyway, so like I was saying, before...
So Chevelle, you want in on this or
no?
I know Joe, you're good. You don't want none of that, but Chevelle, you can make some money. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. We can't even hear Chevelle. I don't know why, but we can't hear Chevelle. He did something to
You're probably better off.
There you go. There you go.
Is this like some kind of weight loss pyramid scheme? What's going on here?
No.
I don't know. It's just a friendly competition.
So
yeah, trying to drop this extra 50 pounds.
Yeah, they're doing it by percentage of weight loss. So you know, those of us with more to lose, you know, you got an edge.
Yeah, but then you got to lose more.
All right.
You weigh 15 pounds and you lose 5.
We're totally off topic. So here's the thing. As I was saying, schools are about to reopen. They're going to be opening up in a few weeks, depending on the district that you're coming from. And so there is a big push to either set up distance learning, a full distance learning package, or this hybrid thing where you come in a couple days and then you're online the rest of the time, or you got to go back to school and they're opening up the campuses. There was some discussion in Orange County that evidently the Board of Education there wanted the schools to reopen, but as it turns out, the Board of Education has no teeth, and the school districts themselves say, yeah, like heck, we're going to do that. So most districts, beginning with LA Unified, announced that they are going to go to a online distance learning only model. They, of course, don't want the liability of bringing students back, and I can't say I blame them one bit. But I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think about this, because there is the flip side of this. People are saying, we look at the school not only to teach our children, but also as some form of childcare. I got to work. So there are people that are hurting from this.
Yeah, but who's working?
You know, with most people working from home, I guess a lot of people are still working, and they just don't have the time to sit there and
people that are
supervise their kids at the same time. I think Todd stuffing a donut in his face
this is something. I think it's a regional issue. I think each region has to decide what's going to be best for that region. I know where I am in the district I'm in, and I'm adjacent to two separate districts. One of the districts covers a larger population. The other, the one that I'm actually in, covers a massive area but a smaller population. And they've actually, this is something they've just done in general. I think California, rather than trying to be the leaders all the time, they might want to take a look in the rearview mirror and see what other people have been doing that works, because clearly what California is doing ain't. But they have been doing all three. So the parents will have the option to do, they're still debating whether they're going to go part on, part off. And I still stick by, I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, I have a feeling come winter, they're going to shut schools down again, even if they do open them. But parents are beginning, the last communication that I got was you can either do in-school mandatory masks and social distancing and all that other crap that comes along with it, or you can do the e-learning. But then my district also actively supports homeschooling. So you can actually homeschool your child with the district curriculum, so that they're not tied to a specific school, but they're still accredited through the district that way. So well, I think part of the problem with places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York is they're just too big.
Well, yeah, and it's not that they're too big, because if you look at LA County as compared to neighboring San Bernardino County, it's probably about 1/8 the size. What it is too densely populated.
You're talking about 1/8. You're talking about 1/8 the size. It's the population is higher per capita.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's too densely populated, and this is why even the social
but you're talking about area versus people. Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about the square footage, the square mileage of the county of Los Angeles.
Because I mean, you can say things like Kern County is like massive, isn't it?
But San Bernardino County is the largest county in the country. There is no county bigger than San Bernardino in the whole of the United States of America. All right.
Yeah, but doesn't that include like the entire Mojave?
Yes, it does. And so you're also talking about where you live, and you said it's a huge area that's not it's sparsely populated. So that's why you're looking at lower numbers.
That goes specifically to my point. My point is there cannot be some blanket order that accommodates all of these situations. Because if you are one of those people in a rural area and you're being told you have to wear a mask, there's questions about how they handle busing children to school. Are you going to have all the kids sitting every other seat? Because then that reduces the number of kids you can bring into the school. It increases the cost of the travel for the school, and the transportation departments having to pay for fuel for multiple trips because they can't take as many people. Or it adds the burden onto the parent, where if they have a child in the nearest school for them, even if it's 5 miles, that's still like a 20-30 minute trip. And if you're talking about in a winter here in Colorado, that could easily turn into a 2-day trip in the wrong situation. So,
all right, I'm gonna
uphill both ways, that type of situation.
That there is something to be said for your case-by-case basis. I would not argue that obviously there are areas that are not as densely populated.
And I think that's the reason why probably California in general has so many problems
with the outbreak on the level that they are in LA County per se. But here's the thing. I think when you're talking about case-by-case basis, you also have to sit there and look at the age or the demographic of the group that you're talking about. High school students, you can explain, you can reason with, theoretically, as far as the risks involved with not following social distancing orders or not wearing a mask. But when you're talking about kindergartners, preschoolers, first and second graders, it's really hard to make those children understand the risks and ramifications of not touching your friend, of staying 6 feet away from your friend, of keeping the mask over your mouth and your face, of washing your hands. If you have a child, you know what I'm talking about. How many times you have to say, wash your
But I think
hands,
there's ways to mitigate
use
that,
soap, sing the happy birthday song while you're doing it. You know, and I can't tell you how many times I've told my kid, no, you don't put the soap on your hands and then put them under the water and you're done. That's not how it works.
Well, I think that there's ways to handle that. I think that number one, it is no secret that class sizes in schools,
shock your children,
specifically
you
in LA County, Southern California in general, way too large. They've done a fairly decent job of cutting back, but I don't think it's because they've got this sudden boom where they've got more teachers and whatnot. I think it's because people are leaving districts and going to private education or some other alternative educational means. I think when you're dealing with the young kids, part of the problem that I think they're having is they're trying to put too much of the responsibility on these kids. With this specific virus, it does not affect adults and children the same way. So it's more about protecting the adults than it is protecting the children. I think if you get the children, squirt their hands with the stuff every couple of hours, it's more about whether or not the teacher is safe in that environment than whether the children are. Because the children, again, when if you clean them up before and after, I think it'll be okay.
When you're talking about young children, you can't squirt their hands every couple hours. How many times do you see a little kid stick his finger up his nose or in his mouth after grabbing something or touching something else?
And they're going to do that. You do what you can do. But what I'm saying is,
so what you're saying is that there's a certain number.
You just before you come into the classroom, hit them with the hands. So when they go to lunch, before they enter the cafeteria, hit the hands.
Your theory
there are some things you can do and some things you can't.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying
your theory is that there's an acceptable number of losses. That's what you're saying. There's an acceptable number of losses.
No,
as long as we don't go over like we lose 50 kids in the school year, we're doing okay.
No, what I'm saying, you're not going to lose any kids, is what I'm saying. Because this does not affect children the same
Trump,
way.
Yes, it does. There have been children that have died as a result of COVID.
Nearly on the level.
Even one child dead is too many.
I'm not saying
if it's your kid that's dead, you're going to have a different opinion. I guarantee it.
Okay. Well, here's what I will say to that. Parents have a decision to make. I think parents need to stop letting school districts, teachers, principals, boards of education, and politicians make those decisions for them. That's your child. If you're concerned that your child going there can put you or someone that you care about at risk, don't send them.
Yeah, and then have the cops come at you. Hang on, we got a call coming in now. Good evening. Thanks for calling around midnight. Somewhere. Who are we talking to? You are live.
Hi, this is Nikki.
Hi, Nikki. How are you doing tonight?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
Pretty good. I'm
depends on what you're about to say.
Dismayed by Chavelle's argument that acceptable losses is, a way to look at this. But anyway,
that's your word,
go ahead.
Joe. Don't put words in my mouth.
Well, and that's actually why I called. Even if you don't get you're going to get kids dying. That's just going to happen. It might not be the same numbers, but it's still going to be kids. However, you look at the teachers. That's what you're looking at. But the kids act as carriers. So they're going to bring it back home to whoever they live with, and that is increasingly multi-generational families. So you're going to kill grandma that way. And then that
or maybe mom and dad, for that matter.
What happened. Or maybe mom and dad, yeah. So you're going to kill the other adults in the household. And when a kid does get it, we don't know enough about this to know how affected they're going to be in the long term. That's a serious problem that they're starting to look at, because now they have enough cases. So that kid could actually have long-term heart problems, long-term lung problems that are not worth that risk. Why is that okay? Just because they're not going to die.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying there are decisions that need to be made, but I think it's a mistake for parents to leave those decisions up to other people. I think one of the biggest mistakes most people make is thinking that somebody else is the expert. And that's not the case. If it's your child, if you're not the expert on your child, you're doing parenting wrong. You need to do something different.
But you were sitting there going,
you need to be the expert.
Kids aren't going to die. So what is acceptable? Because you said the kids aren't going to die. So is the long-term effects okay?
I'm not going to say what is or is not acceptable. Okay. I don't think
I'm glad
that's
somebody
really
else is going after him besides just me tonight.
I'm not saying any of it is acceptable. I'm saying there are ways to do it, but you cannot rely on somebody else. Because here's the other thing that happens. When people let a board make that decision for them, or they let a teacher make that decision for them, all of a sudden a kid does die and it's the board or the teacher's fault. And that's unfair.
Yeah.
So if you don't think it's safe, then don't send your child. And I don't have any other answers for you.
Here's the thing about that, though. Unfortunately, the way the laws are written right now, you don't have a choice. If the school's open and the school district mandates that we're going to have an on-campus learning environment, then you have to send your kid. If you don't send your kid, your kid is truant, and they can come after you legally. Then you are on the hook as being a parent that is endangering your child's welfare. Yes, that's exactly what will happen.
That is part of the reason why I don't think you should allow it to become a case where you have authorities able to go in and do this, because they're going to weaponize this disease more than they already have. They can do that today. They can say, even if you decide to keep your kid home and the schools are closed, that you're still not doing it right. You don't want to give away that authority. All I am saying is parents need to claim and own that responsibility. And you don't have to send your kids. I don't care who tells you, oh, the school's open, your kid has to go. Hell no. Your kid does not have to go. You can homeschool, whether the state says you can or not. It's your child.
We'll make a trip up there to Colorado at least once to come visit you in prison, CJ, just so that you know. Todd and I will come up there at least once.
I think that's a bigger problem.
Nikki, you wanted to say something?
What you're getting right now, and
what was that?
This is something that some people are going to be okay with. But what you're getting by allowing this to happen is you're getting socialism bordering on communism by default.
Nikki, you wanted to say something else. I heard you.
No, I was listening to him, and school attendance is already weaponized. COVID is not actually making it any worse than it already was. My kid broke his foot, and I got a letter saying, hey, he's been absent. And I'm like, all right, I can send him in an electric wheelchair if you want, but they declined that. So,
and I don't think that's okay.
But that's the thing, is it's already a weaponized thing. And fortunately for me, the school district my son's in, I just got the letter today that they are going distance learning. So,
well, thank goodness for that. Somebody with some common sense.
Yeah, and it's a hell of a way.
I don't think it's fair to say that not doing that is a lack of common sense. It's a regional issue, and some regions are not as affected, like LA or even all of Southern California. There are some places where if you have a school, you might only have 6 kids. Why not let them go? So for where you are, that may work, but it has to be a decision that is made, I believe, at the household level. And I made that decision. I homeschooled my child for 2 years, not even because I didn't want them to have to do social distancing. I didn't like the way they were teaching my child. I didn't like that they were handling discipline with my child. So I took that responsibility, and it was a chore. Let me tell you. You were
saying that it's a regional issue that needs to be looked at regionally, and I stand by my assertion that one dead child is one too many.
Okay, Joe, and nobody's going to argue that. How is that even something somebody's going to argue about? The question is not whether or not one dead child is okay. The question is, what are you going to do? And it should be that. It should be exactly that, exactly the way I phrase it. What are you going to do? Not what is Trump going to do, not what is the board going to do, not what is the mayor going to do. What are you
mess it all up? Todd, what were you trying to say there?
Deli is jumping in on the YouTube chat. She says, well, PUSD is actually doing 100% remote learning. So, yeah, there is no in-school option. They were talking for a little while about doing, hybrid or, half days for 2 days a week. Nope. Now that with all the numbers surging, PUSD has officially gone 100% remote learning for the time being.
Well, again, finally, some common sense. It almost seems to be coming a little too late, but at least a little common sense.
I agree with you on that. I don't think it's common sense. I think they're making these decisions for the wrong reasons. I would love to think that they have the best interests of students at heart, but sometimes I think these are just purely economic decisions.
All right. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for calling this evening. We really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the show. Are your parents watching tonight again, too?
My dad's watching, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, please tell him we said hello. Hi there, Nikki's dad. We're glad you're watching.
You're on the screen. You could just say hello, Joe. Tell him I said hello.
That's right. Yeah, well, that's why I said hi there, Nikki's dad. So, all right. You have a great night, Nikki, and maybe call us back later.
Yeah, we can argue some more. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I know. Chevelle loves anybody who wants to argue with him. And speaking of arguing with people, it occurs to me that I think we have to take yet another break. The producers were kind of mad at me.
Before we get off this school thing, I just want to say real quick, I was reading this article about a teacher in Dallas who, says that she's literally ready to quit rather than go back to school. She is familiar with how kids are. As you were saying, Joe, these kids are not capable of doing these social distancing and keeping their hands clean and not, going up to each other and palling around as they're used to.
Yeah.
And she is aware of that. Yeah. And this is, as you would say, Chevelle, this is an expert. This is a person who has taught elementary school kids for 25 years. And she's saying, I'm looking for another line of work if they're going to try to make me go back into that classroom right now.
Well, it's a shame that it's coming to that. But you know what? I kind of support that. I can understand them feeling that way. Anyway, we are live. This is Around Midnight Somewhere, and we're live for Thursday, July 16th, 2020. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can give us a call. The number is 951-356-6882, and we will be back right after this.
You are not your diagnosis.
A medical chart is not your identity.
And vision loss does not define you. Your drive shows who you are.
And you are not alone.
Because we are driven too.
To be a beacon of strength, a champion of courage,
an advocate for hope.
You are not alone.
Because we are stronger together.
We drive the research for the cures we're finding.
We're fighting macular degeneration,
LCA,
retinitis pigmentosa,
and the entire spectrum of blinding retinal diseases.
We fund.
We fight.
We win.
We
are
the foundation
fighting blindness. Together,
we are fighting blindness.
Join the fight at fightingblindness.org.
Oh, Vanessa. You gonna text her back?
Nope. I'm high. I'm gonna hit the treadmill.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Nope. I'm high. How about they come over?
Where?
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
The lost cause. The ignored.
The impossible.
Meet your match. A Go to World Girl Scout identifies a big problem, creates a project, and takes the steps to solve that problem.
We stand out because we stand for more. Gold Award Girl Scouts don't just change the world for the better, we change it for good.
All right, we are back in this special extended 90-minute version. By the way, this was back by popular demand, the 90-minute version of Around Midnight. We'd been doing an hour-long show for quite some time, and apparently there were a lot of upset viewers that said, you know what, we want the 90-minute show back. And so here it is. We're in the extra half hour of the 90-minute show this evening, and I am joined, of course, by my favorite buddies and friends, and that is Chevelle Devine and Todd Fluker. Guys, how are you? Are you still awake?
Buddies and friends?
Yeah, buddies and friends.
So which one is the buddy and which one's the friend?
I'll let you guys fight that out later on.
You know what? I don't want to know.
Oh, okay.
Well, we got some people jumping in on the YouTube chat. Tony, apparently Nikki's dad, says, hi, Joe.
Hey, thanks, Tony. I appreciate it. That's it's always good to hear from a fan. I thank you very much for that. Glad you're watching tonight.
Yeah. Adele wanted to apparently make her point more clear, that she says, and I think as a parent, we need to help our children. And about the not being able to social distance, I think she's saying, not just the kids, Todd. There are adults that don't do those things. And man, I think it's a problem for kids just because they are, ignorant, let's say. Adults are just ornery and a-holes.
There's not a whole lot of adults.
What else to call it?
Yeah. Adults I find myself failing as an adult.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I know we've gotten a lot of comments from this deli this evening, and I really, really appreciate them, Deli. I want you to know. We certainly do appreciate every viewer, but I would like to actively encourage you, Deli, to call in. It would be great to be able to talk to you in real time this evening. just so that everybody gets a chance to argue with you too. Although I'm on your side, I'm going to say that firmly right here. But if you would like to join our conversation tonight, I'd like to remind you can call us live, 951-356-6882. That is the number, 951-356-6882. We will put you on the air, and then you can tell Chevelle how wrong he is.
Well, I don't know if the numbers,
also, by the way,
I don't know if the numbers are going with you, Joe.
Oh,
we got Lugene jumping in on the YouTube chat as well, agreeing with Chevelle. I roll emoji.
Yeah, again, you know what? You can send your comments to us anytime at mixifyd@gmail.com. That's mixifyd@gmail.com. Send us a comment anytime there. You can also tweet Chevelle at Chevelle Devine, myself at Joe Carbonetta, Todd at Todd Fluker. And you can check out our website, which is mixifyd.com. You know what? There's something else we have to make mention of, too, by the way, and that's that Malibu Film Foundation's films, special events, and charities go a long way toward helping the arts in your community, and you can help them by getting involved. Check them out at MalibuFilmFestival.org. All right, go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry about that.
And yeah, Lugene's just saying Trump is turning everything upside down, trying to salvage November. I feel like Trump voters are getting hit hardest by this whole thing. Their numbers are the ones that are going to get hit.
It's funny that you mentioned that because it's about time for...
In the news.
Trump has actually stopped taking on Fauci. Now he's got his cronies doing it for him instead because he's taken a beating in the polls for going after the nation's top pandemic expert. So I found that really interesting.
I'm not a Fauci fan.
Now he's got Peter Navarro, apparently his little attack dog on a short leash, going after him with these nasty op-eds. And then Trump can use his plausible deniability to say, "Oh, he went off leash. We didn't authorize him to say that." Of course, we totally agree with him, but that's not what we didn't mean that. And so
yes.
Anyway,
what is the deal with this whole CDC getting cut out of the coronavirus data analyzation/reporting
That's
thing?
Another
now they're going straight to someone
Honestly,
else.
you guys can get mad at Trump if you want to, but the CDC had that coming. They released numbers. The numbers were wrong. They were inaccurate. And I said this at the beginning of this whole thing. If you keep doing that kind of stuff and trying to freak people out, no one's going to trust you. So I am not surprised at all.
Play the tape, Joe. I don't believe it.
You know what? If I had one, I would.
Definitely said that.
Oh man, I find that interesting that like you, Todd, that he's trying to just ace the entire wing of the federal government that's charged with handling these infectious diseases and pandemics, and they're just trying to sideline the whole operation. So
this is literally their job. What?
Yeah, and they failed at it. That's my problem.
If they failed at it, it's because he fired all the people who were really, in the know on such things at the beginning of his administration, and he's left not only probably not even the B team, it's the C team that was left down there at the CDC, and they're sitting there trying to figure out exactly how Zoom works, and so I don't blame him for getting it wrong.
We actually talked about this indirectly a long time ago. When we were talking about, I think we were talking about whether or not universities were worth it. At some point, we were talking about how a lot of these studies and everything are skewed based on what they're willing to fund. Either private organizations willing to fund specific research with an intent of finding a specific goal, or the federal government funding specific research. I'm a purist when it comes to science. I'm all for the scientific method. I'm a firm believer in it. I don't like how everybody goes in doing research to prove something that they already believe. I think if the evidence takes you another direction, that's science. You follow the evidence. I don't like how they've handled a lot of this stuff. I don't like how the CDC is at the beck and call of the federal government in that way. I don't like how schools and scientists in general, there are a lot of scientists who can't get funding to do research on this kind of stuff. There are other experts on infectious diseases, some other experts on these specific diseases that will not get funding.
Like CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
No, not like that guy.
This is going to lead to more opaqueness.
Nobody's doubting that. But my thing is, the opaqueness is not something that started with Trump.
So wait. Now, back up the train for just a minute here. Why is it you don't like Dr. Gupta? That's not an answer. Yeah, that's not an answer. Because he said something contrary to your boy Trump, so you don't like him now.
Not a fan.
Yeah, because he said something contrary to your boy Trump, so now you don't like him.
That's not even a fair answer.
It's not.
Okay, well, let me give you an answer.
All right, I'm
with
waiting.
all of the experts on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Headline News, take whatever news organization you want. They never pick the one that is actually the most qualified to talk on the subject. They pick the one that talks the most on the subject. Mm-hmm. That's a different thing. They want somebody who's going to give them a great little soundbite. So if you're looking for true information, honestly, the only way you're going to get it is if you go read the research yourself. Now, if Sanjay wants to come up there and start quoting specific reports, and he's going to back that up, and other scientists are also backing up what he's saying on specific reports, because I'm not interested in Sanjay's opinion on the report. I want to know what the report says.
Chevell's the one that talks the most on this show. I think that's why he's here.
Yeah, you know what? See, here's the interesting thing. You know, Trump says all kinds of off the wall stuff that has no basis in actual fact, and yet he's got 1 million people following him. And I noticed that Chevelle does kind of the same thing. He's contrarian to everything that is mainstream and widely known, and somehow he's got a couple of people that actually think he's like preaching the gospel.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
He likes to sidestep
questions. It's funny you should phrase it that way, because there is
like
only
Neo
one thing that I will stand firmly on, and that is, in fact, the gospel. Outside of that, everything else is somebody else's opinion. Period.
Okay. And
isn't that literally
you seem to have a lot of
that was written down?
You seem to have a lot of opinions.
Yes, your opinion.
I like how Chevelle said.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna defer to the experts.
No, but he's not the expert. That's what I'm saying. He's not the expert.
What
he's
about
the guy that
former
let's
acting director, Dr. Richard Besser?
Yeah, let's pin
who
Chevelle
said
down.
This is a step backwards.
I want to know, what about that expert that kind of looks like Todd, only several years older? I can't think of his name. Wow. I mean, if you look at Todd and gray his beard a little bit, it's killing me now that I can't think of his name. But every time I see this guy, I think of Todd, 20 years in the future, and somehow got a doctorate.
Jim Duggan.
No. Anyway, I want to know. I want to pin you down, Chevelle. Exactly who is the expert then? Because so far, all you've done is shoot down every expert.
I never said I knew who the expert was. I just know that we're not going to get all the facts from CNN. You're not going to get all the facts from Fox. You're not going to get all the facts from MSNBC. And if you want the facts, don't come to me quoting those people.
Dang! Once again, Chevelle sidesteps the issue.
Exactly. So
I'm giving you the honest answer. I'm not going to sit here and say so and so is the expert. I am not an expert, but I just know enough to know about how the media works. Now, when it comes to media and news and the production of it, I do have a certain level of expertise in that, so I can speak to you from that.
But based on your pretzel logic, there is no expert, because you'll just shoot down every expert that ever comes along, and so we'll never get anywhere. That's why you're sitting there telling everybody they don't need to wear a mask either, right?
In the corner, and that all the other scientists hate because they actually care about doing real science rather than acquiring funding. That's who the expert is.
How can you say that
but
these
their name's
people
not going to
aren't
be on a
interested in
paper
real
because
science?
they're not doing it for that glory. Their name's not going to be on some bill. They're not going to be in executive positions, because you, having worked in executive corporate environments, know for a fact that the ones that rise to the top are not the smartest ones in the company.
Also know for a fact that you can't conduct these experiments without money, without funding, and it's the squeaky wheel that gets the most grease.
So then here's what I would suggest. Rather than saying we're going to give you this money to research this thing, why don't you just give everybody some money? Why are you targeting so specific?
I've been asking where my money is for the longest time.
If you want to do research on COVID, do research on COVID, but don't do research that says, I need you to prove how COVID's going to pass through this mask, because you're going to find that answer if that's all you're looking for. You need to research the whole thing.
But that was what they were looking for.
And they're not
whether or not COVID would go through the mask. I mean, what am I missing here?
There's more to it than that. There's levels to it.
Yvette's jumping in on the YouTube chat. She said, I've been meaning to mention it. An hour is not long enough. Oh, thanks, Yvette.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, like
We're
I said,
be going back to 3 hour long
there's one of those
on
popular demands. Like I said, we're back by popular demand on the 90-minute show, because the hour, a lot of people said the hour wasn't long enough.
And Lugene is jumping in saying, we're just screwed. There's too much conflicting information. We're out there. The WHO, the CDC, is losing everything to the White House administration, whose leader said the whole civic ate.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means.
It's supposed to be COVID. That's autocorrect.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. All I can say is I hope the country comes to its senses come November and gets Trump out of there in favor of anybody who could. At this point, I'm almost willing to entertain the idea that Kanye West might actually be a better alternative. And bite my tongue for saying that. I might be more inclined to vote for Kanye West.
I would actually choose Kanye over Biden.
Huh. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I would definitely pick Kanye over Trump because I don't think anybody could be a bigger bumbler than Trump. Anyway, that having been
Careful
said,
what you ask for, Joe.
Yeah, I know it's a dangerous. I realize it's a dangerous road. Like I said, if we are talking a worst case scenario here, if I had to choose between Kanye and Trump, but
I think the one big difference between Trump and pretty much every other candidate, every other politician is Trump does what he wants to do. He does what he says he was going to do. That's why people hate him. But he's doing what he said he would do, and everybody's acting like
just because you do what you say you're going to do doesn't make it a good idea. That's like saying I'm going to jump off a building, so I go and jump off a building.
That makes you honest.
He's honestly deranged and a threat to
but he's honest.
The world. So
I'll take honestly deranged over Biden deranged any day of the week.
Well, you and I will just have to agree to disagree on that one. Anyway, we have been talking about the children this evening, and we were discussing the fact that you cannot reason with a second grader or a third grader, probably not even a fourth grader, about the importance of social distancing and wearing a mask. But something that has been overlooked in all this is how do we treat children during life with COVID? Do we explain everything there is? I mean, what's the way to approach trying to get a child to social distance and take precautions? Do you just, tell them, hey, this is what we're doing? Or do you give them the whole, look, do this or you're going to get sick and die? I'm curious, guys. How do you want to approach this as parents?
You obviously, you don't know my youngest if you think that that's going to stop him. You do that, you're going to get sick and die. Guess what he's going to do? He's going to go up there licking the face of the person that you told him not to go do that.
You do realize this is my point exactly, and why we need to socially distance and do distance education. You understand that, right?
My kid will put everything and anything in his mouth. I've witnessed it. He licks shopping carts. I finally got him to stop doing that. Do you realize how gross that is?
Why a shopping cart?
Before
eliminate COVID.
Yeah, before
licking shopping carts.
I realize that there is a mentality that whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But anyway, go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry.
They were even dirtier before all this. I wouldn't suggest licking anything out in public, let alone that. And oh man, Joe will be happy. We got all kinds of love on the YouTube chat. Kevin's jumping in saying 90 minutes. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Anything else? You said we had all kinds. I was hoping there was something else in there.
Yeah. Yvette's jumping in. She says, yeah. Lugene's saying, Chevelle, what happened to you? I'm not sure what that's referring to. I just use that as a general term. Chevelle, what's happened to you?
I had kids and grew up, man. It's just, at some point, you just...
I think it's more like you had kids
and
I don't have to tell you guys, up.
I have spent my entire life complaining. It has been my function on this show since we began.
And it hasn't changed any.
Obfuscate.
Does it change things? Yeah, seeing a miniature version of yourself doing the stupid things you used to do not that long ago.
I wish it was just that.
Oh my goodness, that was a good one, Todd. That actually deserves a laugh track right there. That's what that deserves.
It changes a person,
it's crazy
right?
when you have multiple children how radically different they are. Like one of them is a complete germaphobe. The other one's out there eating the dirt right next to the dog poop.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's at least a step up from the dog poop, right?
Well, I had an epiphany the other day. I was going back to the discussion of how to handle children in a situation like this. And, I try not to get too graphic with my kids about exactly what's going on. I mean, I want them to be safe. And I think it's apparent at this point that I am pro distance learning, at least for the short term. You know, when there's a vaccine that comes along and we can start, well, let me even be a little more in depth on that. I want to see a vaccine that is proven to create antibodies that will reduce the likelihood of a severe reaction to exposure to COVID. When that comes along, we can talk about going back to school on a regular basis. Because yes, I do agree that the children are missing out on actually being able to associate with one another. But safety's got to come first. And at the same time, I don't want to terrify my children by showing them the media images of people in ICU beds hooked up to ventilators and you know, where they're actually saying most of these people that get to this stage, they're not coming out. They're only going out in a bag. So, you know, I don't want to do that either. But I found myself having a conversation.
You don't want to scare kids being like, if you do that, you're probably going to bleed from your eyes and die.
Okay, let's pause right there and then think about the kind of stuff your parents used to tell you and think about the things that worked and didn't work. Because when they said you're going to bleed and die, I might pause for a minute. When they were like, oh, it's probably not safe.
Okay, but based on your own model, if you told your youngest, if you do that, you're going to bleed and die, what effect would it have for him?
He'll pause for a half second.
A half second.
I mean, some kids, Joe, some kids are just extra. Like, you got kids that are extra, but then you got kids that are extra. I got a kid that's extra.
All right.
Well, he's extra.
Deli's jumping in again. She says she tells her 5-year-old the truth, that people are getting sick and some are dying. He already used the masks, and I tell him to keep his social distance when he says hi. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, you gotta, at this point, maybe before, if it was just going to be the 6 weeks or whatever, you could just say, oh, little Billy, we don't feel like going out of the house. But it's been 3 months. You got to start telling the kids what's going on. Otherwise, they're going to think mommy and daddy are agoraphobic or something. They're going to start calling.
In some cases, mommy and daddy have become agoraphobic.
All of that is definitely true. But so I was sitting there having, you know, I've got 2 young children. I have one child that's 10 and I have one child that's 7. And so I was sitting there talking to them and trying to explain to them the severity of the current pandemic and the reasoning behind being home, you know, again, without trying to get too graphic. But, you know, you can almost see, especially with the 7-year-old, you can see their eyes start to glaze over at some point. They're not so interested in hearing it after about 30 seconds. You know, they're already thinking about something else entirely. But and that made me realize that this was a larger lesson. And what I realized was that in being a parent, we make a lot of stuff up as we go along, especially with the first child. You know, everything is a new experience. People can tell you a lot of stuff and you know a lot of things, but there's a lot of things you learn along the way. And the hardest lesson to learn in parenting really is the parent's responsibility. It is the hardest lesson to learn that is for the parent, not the child. We can teach the child a lot of things. The hardest lesson to learn is mine as a parent. And this is what I mean. I was sitting there talking to my kids and I was saying, look, you know, I'm dad. It is my job to keep you safe. And I can save you from getting injured in a terrible car accident by making sure that you ride in your car seat and that you put on your seatbelt. I can save you by being a good example when I drive and teaching you how to respect the rules of the road and drive in a sane fashion. You know, I can keep you safe by making sure that you don't associate with strangers, that you don't wander off by yourself, that you don't stick your fingers in the electrical socket, that you don't eat things you shouldn't eat, all of those kinds of things. I can save you from everything. And this is the thing. This is the lesson that's very hard for a parent to learn. I can save you from everything except yourself. Because what it really boils down to in the end, after I've extolled to you every bit of wisdom that I have gained in all of my years of experience, what it really boils down to is what you do when I'm not there to swoop in and save you from making a mistake. It's the choices that you make as you go along life on your own that will determine what happens to you. So I can teach you everything there is to know, but it's up to you as my child, as any child, whether you take that information and process it and use it. I can save you from everything but yourself. And that's really what it boils down to. And that's the hardest lesson to learn as a parent.
The more you know.
I know. Don't you like... Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Oh,
Joe,
you wrote that down, didn't you?
Yeah, can I get you to come over and say that again to my kids?
Well, you know, I mean,
pretty good.
That was just, it was an epiphany I had while sitting there having that conversation. Especially, like I said, I was watching my 7-year-old's eyes kind of glaze over, like, okay, Dad, all right, you know.
Whatever, Dad.
And you know, somewhere they're still listening to it. And maybe it's going to take them a few years, a dozen years to process it. You know, and I'll be watching over them until then. But at some point, you have to let them go. And that's the hardest thing, is to recognize that, to learn that lesson, that I can teach you everything, but it's up to you to actually use that. And I can't make you do that.
Yeah, because Nikki is jumping in on the chat. She says she's talked to her son, and she's been really honest with him and just told him a little bit about it, and he's taken it upon himself to learn more. And that's a very smart approach as well. I mean,
and that comes from knowing your child.
Yeah, sometimes I think that if it's coming from mommy and daddy, sometimes kids have a tendency to kind of blow it off and be like, you know, it's just mom and dad. They don't really know what they're doing. But if it comes from someone else, like if Nikki's son, you know, gets it from mom and she's like, oh, you better wear your mask or else eye bleeding death. And he's going to be like, whatever. And but if he actually goes out and reads it for himself from, you know, a third party of any kind, then, you know, it's more impactful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
And that's one to grow on.
You're just trying to get us sued now, right? You're trying to see if you can like borrow every catchphrase from one of the major networks and see if they will actually send us a cease and desist order. I mean, I'm not sure where you're going with that, but anyway, well, you know,
but you know, it's kind of just been the theme of this whole thing. It's about responsible parenting, and I think that's probably one thing a lot of parents have learned from COVID is like your kids they're here. Did you know you got kids, right?
And they're jerks.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they like licking shopping carts.
Oh my God, such little jerks.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, Around Midnight Somewhere is a CDF production, and it is produced for Mixified Media Solutions through Mixified Media Solutions. So figure that out. It's for and through Mixified Media Solutions. But again, it's a CDF production. We want to say special thanks again to the Malibu Film Foundation, the Malibu Film Festival, Pasadena Media, and of course Nikki, because Nikki always calls in and corrects us when we have our facts wrong. So we really do appreciate that. We actually want to thank all of our callers and viewers for watching tonight too. We really appreciate that. And you know what else can we say except maybe that you need to like stay sober and stay mixified. That sounds like a good one, right? Todd, are you stuffing more stuff in your face right now, Todd?
I'm carb loading.
You're serious about this, aren't you? You really are.
I'm almost wanting to do that just so I can go eat.
I'm gonna win.
Wow. You know, we haven't done a What's in Your Face episode for so long. We really should have done that just for Todd this evening. What's in your face now, Todd?
Everything.
Yeah, well, all right. Yeah, so, okay. Now that we've gotten all that out of the way, thanks for watching again. We will see you next Thursday night with another 90-minute edition of Around Midnight Somewhere. Oh yeah, and wear a mask.